Okay, so welcome back to the Dream Space with Max and Colette, and we're here to speak to you all about just more about how we're approaching this group through the Jungian lens, and in particular our up and coming course. We're going to speak today more really about the individuation process and about Jung's work and why people do Jung's work. And I'm going to be asking Max a series of questions that might just help us try to understand more what we mean when we talk about an individuation process, or doing the Jungian work, as we so frequently hear, or being a Jungian. So I'm going to start off by asking you, Max, what would you say, why would you say that Carl Jung's work is still so popular now? Why do you think it's gathered so much accolade in both the spiritual world and the psychological world?
I think that, I mean, just Jung as an historical figure was, he was always considered a bit of a mystic because of what he brought in terms of, concepts like the collective unconscious, and he wrote quite a bit about UFOs and about ghosts, poltergeists in particular. So his works are vast, and in the vastness of those works, you will find a lot of mystical explorations. To say that made him spiritual, well, his father was a priest, and he came from a very rich religious family life. So he naturally would have taken on his father's complexes and would have taken on that religious drive that his father brought to the house, with him being a priest. So on the fundamental, in the essence of it, the psychological essence of it, there would naturally be a propensity for Jung to lean towards the religious function. And he even spoke about the religious function as one of the key functions that exist within the human psyche. So the difference between a function and a complex is that the function are our basic instincts. And Jung expanded those instincts that were initially discussed in the early versions of psychology, being sex, hunger, shelter, that basically the Maslow hierarchy of needs. And he expanded to the religious function, the creative function, the artistic function, and he expanded these functions that human beings need. They absolutely, it goes beyond just desire. They need to feel religiously fulfilled. So in my case, to kind of bring it home, is I live in a Jewish neighborhood. And every Friday and Saturday, I see Jewish families walking and, obeying the laws of the Sabbath. And I sometimes laugh at it and think, you're being possessed by your complex, but it's actually far deeper than that. They actually are being possessed by one of their functions. It's just like a hunter would be possessed by their hunting function when they go out and hunt, 70,000 years ago. So the same kind of concept. And that's why I think there's so much read into Jung's work about spirituality, is that there is a lot of that comes through his work. A lot of his in his body of work, he explores it. He explores those kind of functions. But I think just to say a bit more is that I think because so many people have studied Jung, and there have been schools that have, been formed in Jung's name and in psychoanalysis names, that a lot of the work has been appropriated in what is loosely termed like the New Age thinking. And people have appropriated concepts and ideas from Jung's work and are using it in the New Age styles and the New Age philosophies. And those styles and philosophies, those adaptations of his work have sometimes found fertile ground in groups and cults and in schools, like the school that I come from, the Center for Applied Jungian Studies. So there are these misappropriations and there's the appropriations, which, as we know in Western culture, we're very good at appropriating knowledge and wisdom from other cultures. Jung, obviously being European, it would be remiss of me to say if we appropriate his culture, but it's certainly an interpretation of his work. And I think there's a lot of spirituality and a lot of what I always define as kind of bringing meaning to our lives. By understanding ourselves better, we bring meaning.